You wake up before the alarm, not because you have to, but because something in you is already moving. The house is quiet in a way it never is during the day. No voices, no notifications, no expectations waiting for you yet. Just that soft, early stillness. You make coffee without turning on too many lights. You move slower, more deliberately. You don't rush. You don't need to. Outside, the air feels colder than usual, like the world hasn't fully decided to start yet. You load your gear, close the door gently, and step into a morning that feels like it belongs only to you. By the time you reach the water, there's often a thin layer of mist hovering just above the surface. Everything is muted. The sounds are softer. Even your thoughts feel quieter, like they've been turned down without you asking. You don't speak, there's no reason to. You set up your rod, sit down, and for the first time in a while, nothing is pulling at you from 10 different directions. No one needs anything. No one is waiting for an answer. You're just there. And the truth is, you don't come here just to fish. You don't wake up before sunrise for fish. You don't sit for hours just to catch something you could easily buy. That's not what this is. What pulls you here is harder to explain even to yourself. It's not loud, not obvious, but it's consistent. Something in you knows that this place does something to your mind that nothing else quite does. Because out here, things make sense again. There's something about the simplicity of it, the rod, the line, the water, a small set of variables you can actually understand. You cast, you wait, you adjust. There's no hidden agenda, no shifting rules, no social pressure, just a clear relationship between action and outcome. In a world that often feels unpredictable and overloaded, this kind of simplicity isn't boring, it's stabilizing. You don't realize how much noise you carry until it starts to fade. During the week, your mind doesn't really stop. Even when you're resting, something is still running in the background. Conversations replay, decisions stack up, problems stay half-solved in your head. There's always something unfinished. But when you're sitting by the water, watching the line, something shifts. Not instantly, but gradually. The noise doesn't disappear all at once. It loosens, it spreads out, it becomes manageable. And that's where the real value is. You're not doing nothing. It might look like that from the outside, but internally, something is reorganizing. Fishing gives your mind a place to slow down without forcing it. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to talk things through. You just sit, watch, wait, and somehow that's enough for your thoughts to start settling into something clearer. There's also the rhythm of it, the repetition. You cast, you wait, you reel in, you adjust, you do it again and again. It's predictable, almost mechanical, but not in a dull way. It gives your body something steady to follow. And when your body has a rhythm, your mind often follows it. That's why it feels calming, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is happening at a pace your system can actually handle. Out here, you don't have to perform. There's no pressure to be interesting or productive or impressive. You're not being evaluated. You're not trying to say the right thing. You're not managing how you come across. You're just existing in a space where being quiet is normal, where not talking doesn't need to be explained. And for a lot of men, that matters more than they admit. Because it's not always easy to explain what's going on inside. Not because there's nothing there, but because it's not always clear enough to put into words. Fishing becomes a way to sit with that without having to translate it. You don't have to label it, you don't have to fix it immediately, you just give it space. Sometimes that space is what's missing everywhere else. There's also something about being near water specifically. It pulls your attention outward in a way that feels natural. The surface, the movement, the light, the subtle changes. It gives your mind something to rest on without overwhelming it. You're focused but not tense, alert but not stressed. It's a kind of attention that doesn't drain you. And over time you start to associate that feeling with this place. The moment you arrive, your body already knows what to do. Your breathing changes. Your shoulders drop. You stop scanning for the next problem. You stop anticipating interruptions. You just settle. Not completely, not perfectly, but enough to feel different. There's also memory tied into it. For some, it's quiet mornings with a father or grandfather. For others, it's just a familiar feeling that goes back years. Either way, fishing often connects you to a version of yourself that feels more stable, more grounded, less reactive, less pulled in every direction. You don't think about it directly, but it's there, in the way you move, in the way you sit, in the way you stay longer than you planned. But there's another side to it too. Sometimes you come here not just because it feels good, but because everything else feels too loud, too fast, too demanding. And this becomes the one place where you can step out of that without having to explain why. You don't have to tell anyone you need a break. You don't have to justify it. You just go. And maybe you stay longer than necessary. Maybe you take your time packing up. Maybe you sit a little longer even when the fishing slows down. Not because you're chasing the next catch, but because you're not ready to go back to everything waiting for you. That's part of it too. Not avoidance, exactly, but a pause, a controlled distance. Because out here, you're not overwhelmed. You're not being pulled in 10 directions. You're not constantly reacting. You're in one place, doing one thing, at a pace that feels natural. And that does something to you. It brings you back to a more steady version of yourself. Not perfect, not completely reset, but more aligned than you were before you arrived. That's why you keep coming back. Not for the fish? Not really. You come back because this is one of the few places where your mind stops pushing so hard, where your thoughts stop stacking, where you don't have to hold everything together at once, where being quiet isn't strange and being alone doesn't feel like isolation. It feels like order. And maybe you don't say it like that. Maybe you just tell people you're going fishing. But what you're really doing is giving yourself a space where things slow down enough for you to feel steady again. And in a world that rarely stops moving, that might be one of the most important things you have.